In the beginning was the void. Then from the darkness of the deep erupted the energy of the deep. Out of this tumult formed the heavens, a multiverse filled with glittering stars. Amid the multiverse firmament, the dust gathered and was shaped into a world, where waters boiled with light and from the light sprang life. The old gods ruled all that they saw, but that was not enough if they had to share it. Darkness still clung to this new existence. Jealousy and pride had burrowed deep into their hearts. It cursed them, and they returned to the dust. Then, the new gods rose. God against God, there was no personal vendetta, but a battle for the soul of the cosmos, an army of light against that of darkness. After 7 days of war, there was more dead than living, so the new gods sulked back into the multiverse. Highfather and his side built New Genesis high above the world that they had destroyed, while Darkseid and his ilk built Apocalypse. One would search for the life equation, while another would search for the anti-life equation. And thus began their search throughout the entire multiverse. And the Highfather was brought to the Source Wall to speak with the greatest knowledge beyond the wall. But he was unable to pass through. In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was the Source. But today, the Highfather and Metron see something new. A new being has been trapped within the wall. When Metron uses their technology to speak with the being, he starts in ramblings and nonsense. His name is Relic. His universe lost its emotional spectrum, and he came to this one to save it. But the lightsmiths of this universe, no, the lanterns of this universe, united and defeated him, with one going through the wall after him. Highfather is speechless. A being in this universe went through the wall? Metron, do you know of these lanterns? Mortals. They channel energy through their rings and waste it on trivial purposes. They know not the power that they wield if those rings can pass through the wall. It can only mean that these mortals possess the ultimate weapon. Over in Sector 0, Hal Jordan and Kilowog are looking through their computers when Hal remembers. It's been a year. He flies off to the graves of the fallen lanterns where he finds John in front of Kyle's tombstone. They both remember that Kyle was always the light that would shine the brightest. And in the distance, St. Walker is watching his friends, remembering that he wasn't there when Kyle sacrificed himself. He doesn't feel hope anymore and he can't wear his own ring, though it does seem to follow him. And Mogo, the planet lantern everyone is on, asks Walker, "Do you not find White Lantern Kyle Rayner inspiring?" But he doesn't. Over on New Genesis, Orion hears a boom as a boom tube opens behind him. It's the Highfather and he has a mission for his generals. There are these rings in this universe. They have the power to access the life equation. So he wants 7 of them, so each of them needs to get him one of the rings. While his 8th general builds him a device to access the combined power of these rings. The generals do not question the Highfather, and they get to work. On the homeworld of the Sinestro Corps, a new god general named Becca appears telling Sinestro, "Your yellow ring, you will give it to me." Or, "That was not a question," and she throws him aside as she disables the other yellow lanterns and cuts off Archillo's fingers, taking his ring. Then boom! She leaves. Over on Okara, the homeworld of Larfleeze, another general appears and he begins to fight the orange constructs, telling Larfleeze he only needs the ring. This could be so much easier. "Mine! Mine! The ring is mine! And it's the only one!" So the beast snatches it off of Larfleeze's finger and leaves. On Zemarion, the homeworld of the Star Sapphires, a speedster zips through the planet, taking one of their rings, and simply leaves. On Nock, the homeworld of the Indigo Tribe, another general takes a member's ring through his pleading that it'll turn him back into a monster. And as the general leaves, the Indigo member gets a grin on his face. He is now free of compassion. And on Earth, a woman completely incinerates her tormentors before flying over to the new god general and giving him her red ring. She got her vengeance and now wants to die. The ring theft continues as Orion appears on Mogo and he sees Saint Walker with the only blue ring. Realizing that he is on a living planet, Orion wonders if it'll put up a good fight. But it isn't much of one as he takes Saint Walker and Mogo's rings before trying to leave. Hal sees him, and before he can leave, he tries to hold Orion back. But Orion shatters Hal's constructs and throws him against the wall before boom tubing out. Then Mogo goes dormant with no life left in him. The new gods have succeeded in getting every one of the rings, and the High Father holds it over his subjects. They have the life equation, and can finally defeat Darkseid and bring order to the multiverse. They can reshape this universe into a trap for Darkseid, so the moment he appears, they will have everyone waiting to defeat him. But they need to test this first. So they go to a planet destined to fail. A world consumed by its own greed, poverty, overpopulation, starvation, and sickness. The High Father unleashes the power of the life equation on the planet, changing them into something better, hopefully. They feel the full force of every emotion in the emotional spectrum, and they do begin to change, but into monsters, creatures, beasts that suffer. They have not created new gods, but monsters. So the High Father decrees, the planet will be slaughtered out of mercy. They cannot be allowed to suffer. He looks at his device, trying to figure out why it failed, and Metron suggests maybe they don't need to combine the power, but the rings, into a central white ring. A white ring? Well, if one exists, then it holds the life equation within it, and it is the ultimate power in the universe. By whatever means necessary, I will use this power against Darkseid. Over on Mogo, Hal is trying his best to figure out what just happened. Mogo has gone dormant and their systems are reading an entire planet was just exposed to a massive amount of spectrum power. 2 planet-sized problems for the core to handle. And that's when the new gods begin to trace back the rings to read its information and try to figure out the answer to the White Lantern. Just as Hal and Kilowog are sitting there trying to figure out their problems, they see someone trying to access the core's computers. Their first reaction is to sever the connection, but Hal tells them not to. These computers have 10 billion years of knowledge in them. There's no way that these guys are after all of it. There must be a specific thing that they are searching for. That's when they see their goal, the White Lantern. Hal also counter-traces their signal to find out Metron's current location. That's when he takes half the core to go meet them. They arrive with Orion, Metron, and a small sliver of the New God army standing there waiting. He approaches them, demanding that they give themselves up, and come back with the Green Lantern core to Mogo. Orion starts the fight sucker-punching Hal, and that starts the one-sided battle of the Lanterns versus New Genesis, and it's a bloodbath. The constructs are useless against the New God's army, and after they kill a good chunk of the Lanterns, the army of New Genesis gets bored and decides to boom tube back to New Genesis. At first, Hal demands the Green Lanterns chase them, but Salak tells him, look through the portal. It's an entire army. Hal realizes this potential problem, and he sends an order to all of the Lanterns to leave Mogo and go to the last place a Green would go. Nock, the world of the Indigo Lanterns, because Mogo is dormant and there's no way he can protect them. Meanwhile, John has brought a group of Lanterns to the planet changed by Highfather. He asks his ring what happened, and it tells him the entire planet was hit with every energy, red, orange, yellow, green. I get it. The curious part is that they can't find anyone on the planet, living or dead, until one leaps out of a building and drops him to the ground. The Lanterns easily put this monster in a construct cage, but then it breaks out and it goes in to kill a Lantern when it's suddenly dropped to the ground dead. Standing there is a general of New Genesis, and he explains that this is their doing. They are showing mercy with swift blows to the back of the head. He explains that their plans did not work because the rings are flawed. Not the new gods, they are gods. He then demands that John and his Green Lanterns give up their rings. They are far too dangerous for mere mortals. John responds by putting handcuffs onto the general, and the general breaks out with ease and then grabs John by the throat. Left and right, the Lanterns try their hardest to battle against the new gods, but the new gods shatter and dispose of the constructs easily. So John tells his team to get off the planet. He'll finish them, and he wraps chains around the buildings nearby, and then he pulls them down on top of the general and himself. He got out just in time when he caught up with his team, but the whole thing was pointless as the general boom tubes right next to them. All hope seems lost until Indigo 1 teleports in behind them to tell them to join her. The war has begun. Meanwhile, across space, the Templar Guardians are explaining the situation to Kyle Rayner. He isn't dead. He's been in hiding ever since he touched the source. Lanterns around the universe are under attack by beings older than the Guardians because of what Kyle did. It was supposed to be impossible. They explain that when Kyle went through the wall and came back, he took the life equation with him. That is how he has been capable of so many feats. Because of that, Kyle is now a target. That's why you wanted me hidden? That's why you wanted me to let my friends think I was dead? Not because of the reservoir, but because of me? You have to understand, Kyle. We weren't sure, we only had a theory. We couldn't risk anyone knowing. You couldn't risk my knowing? You lied to me. You made me a liar. We did not force you. No, you lied, misled, and manipulated until you got what you wanted. Carol steps in. Who does that sound like, Kyle? Wait, How did you know about the situation with the cores? We tapped into their communications. You are spying on the cores? Kyle chuckles at the idea. Of course they did. Why not? They were supposed to be better than the last Guardians. They were supposed to be different. Then Kyle lifts off the ground. I'm going back to save my friends, but the Templar Guardians get in his face. We cannot allow that. And they bombard him with their power. What are you doing? Carol shouts. That's Kyle! The power within Kyle cannot be allowed in this universe. We had hoped for Kyle's help in returning it, but if you won't, we will remove it ourselves. They then continue to hit Kyle with their power, and he hits the ground telling them, stop, stop! He shouts as an explosion of white power comes out of him more than ever before. He begins to alter the very universe around him, showing all versions of the multiverse and life itself. And to make matters worse, he can't control it. That's when the New Gods get a ping on their radar of the power of life, and they boom tube there. The High Father steps forward and tells Kyle, enough. Please! This is not a power mortals are meant to have. Is that not clear to you? You nearly drove the universe into extinction with your use of the emotional spectrum. Now you dare use the life equation? Is there any doubt how this will end? High Father reaches out and he places a hand on Kyle's shoulder, absorbing the power of life into himself, helping redirect it, and then he throws the power off into space. All of the multiversal possibilities showing as it goes. The Templar Guardians fly in telling High Father they can't allow this, and he teleports them away. Carol looks at him. You attacked the cores. Yes, I am seeking to protect all of the universes. This is my duty and my honor. The actions of your cores almost ended this universe prematurely. A threat I should have been made aware of, but was not. Perhaps I acted harshly when I sent my generals to obtain the rings so that I might understand them. I did not think merely asking them would have resulted in my obtaining them. Was I mistaken? The High Father then opens a boom tube back to New Genesis and he invites Kyle to join him to better understand the White Ring. Kyle looks into Carol's eyes. This is the only chance I have. And Carol looks into Kyle's eyes. I will follow you anywhere. If this is what you want, I trust you. They kiss passionately with what could possibly be their last, and they enter blindly into the boom tube. If only High Father's intentions were as proper as he was making them out to be, because we saw with John that his troops are taking all of the Lantern Rings. Across the universe back on Earth, Guy Gardner is trying to relax after his Red Lantern Civil War, when members of the New Gods army appear before him to take his ring by force. He tries to hold his own, but the New Genesis army is wrecking his power and draining his ring at a rapid rate. As they come in to kill Guy Gardner, Simon Baz comes into his rescue, explaining what's happening. That there is an army here trying to kill all lanterns and they need to leave now. Simon tells them that they don't stand a chance. Lantern power doesn't work. Guy tells them they don't run. Lanterns don't run. Luckily, the New Genesis general gets a call to return. They have the White Lantern. They leave Guy and Simon there. Elsewhere, Sinestro and his army are trying to figure out a plan of attack, because oddly, Sinestro seems to be obsessed with the woman that attacked him. He has Lyssa track the woman, and Lyssa finds her assaulting the homeworld of the Indigo Lanterns, Nock, the location that all of the Green Lanterns fled to. On Nock, the Greens and the Indigo tribe are getting their butts handed to them, so Sinestro sends in his corps to help repel the army. But they are also dying all over the planet's surface. It's a hopeless endeavor. But Sinestro knew this going in. He had decided that the Sinestro Corps had grown bloated, and he wanted to weed out his numbers. As they appeared to be losing, he ordered Arquillo and his squad to leave the planet, taking the Greens and the Indigo tribe with him. Then, Sinestro detonated the remaining members of his Corps' rings, stalling the armies of New Genesis. As everyone fled, Becca looks up, sacrificing those loyal to you. For you, Sinestro, only damnation waits! And that is Act 1 of Godhead. I know we've been building up to this, and I hope you guys are enjoying it, because we have 2 more acts to go. What will happen to the White Lantern? What will happen to the Greens, the Reds, the Indigo Tribe? Can people stand up against gods? Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Comicstorian, Instagram at Comicstorian, and check out our gaming channel, Eligible Monster Gaming. The link is down below where you can find gaming comic books and Let's Plays and other stuff. I'm Benny, and I'll see you next time right here.